Okay. Are we streaming? What are we streaming to? Who are we streaming? Alright, I guess we're live on YouTube. Don't know if we're live on... Are we live on Twitch? No, that's a video, that's not live. That's live. I think it is. I think we're live on Twitch. What about Restream? We're not live on Restream somehow? Ooh. How's that possible? Ah, here it is. Okay. But somehow the Restream chat stuff isn't up. Alright. Gonna have to... here we go. Alright. So, we're back. Earlier today we started approaching the editor from the perspective of an existing loaded puzzle. And to keep it a bit simpler, I think I'm gonna pick a different puzzle. Something with cages only. Something like this. And I think I have this down here somewhere already. All right. So we have more than 2 cages. There we go. So, before we get started, let's do a quick to-do list. So we have all this stuff. All right, let's do it. Let's do it today. So today we want to get interaction with the mouse and the cages. So detect mouse hover on component. Interact with component. Update puzzle data. Now, I could work directly on the fpuzzle data or try to convert fpuzzles to CTC data and work on that. We'll see when we get to it which one makes more sense. All right. So, earlier we did the whole handle input move. Yeah, okay. Get page run, load puzzle data. And here we have these, right? These little helper functions. And we probably, all of this stuff eventually, you know, we want to pull it out. And after talking to Mark, he gave me some suggestions. Oh, wait, I didn't add the announcement. I'm a pro. I forget announcements. Here we go. Announcements, YouTube announcements, Sven. There we go. Hey, ping. Anybody? Anybody home? Okay, so earlier I was also mentioning that I might struggle with how specifically we're going to interact with the items, right? Because what does it mean to click on a cage? What does it mean to click on an arrow? These are not obvious concepts. Hey, Friar. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for hanging out. So, we have our little move thing here. But basically, we need to have an internal way, like an internal structure of how to interact between the mouse and the elements, right? So with the lines, we just did a distance to each individual point on the line. With the cages, I probably want to do a bounding box of the cage itself. Now, as far as I know, the bounding box in the SVG DOM element is kind of like a, axis aligned, like an AABB axis aligned bounding box, which isn't exactly what we want, right? So probably what we want to do is we want to first figure out which cell we're at, which isn't hard. We have stuff for that. So for example, when I do a handle input down, we have get draw RC, app input pause. So we have stuff like that, right? We probably don't care about draw RC here. RC, by the way, stands for row column. So internally, I'm working with the row column format of the that's common for the puzzles, but it might not be good for the rendering because, you know, XY is more, and it's like swapping back and forth. It's a bit of a mess. So let's do this quickly. And we're just going to quickly output our position and target RC. I think the getDrawRC is the subsegmented version, yeah. Which we don't actually want. So we don't really want getDrawRC. We want the actual cell, right? And we can just look at script of how we're extracting the cell positions there. And I don't think we're using exact here. I think we're generally using this. Yeah. So we're gonna ignore this for a second. We have the input position. So we get the XY to RC, and then this dot grid. So this is puzzle, this app, and then we're just gonna spit this out. Rev RC and cell, and that should give us an actual reference to the cell that we've just hovered over. Is that on puzzle or on app? I think this is on puzzle. Nope. All right. So before we do all of this, before we do all this stuff here, let's get rid of this for a sec here. So this gives us a cell, right? And we don't actually have an internal... Hey, Mark, thanks, appreciate it. So here we're parsing the information, and now, you know, we should really start on creating a high-quality internal representation, right? And our high-quality interpretation might be based on this component. Now, the component here is a UI thing, right? So we're back to entity component systems. Basically, we want a low-level interpretation where it's not just raw data, but it can also do things like convert to various formats and do some basic functionality. But then as a component, we want to be able to render it, but not always, right? So you want to be able to have the unrenderable version, the lower level version separately. For now, I'm just going to use plain old JavaScript objects. Until I decide to actually implement a full ECS, which I think is quite appropriate here, better than inheritance, because, you know, what are you going to inherit from? The UI element? No, you want a raw data element, right? Make them completely do different things? Kind of, sort of. Yeah, this is, this basically says, this is the equivalent of, dereferencing it like this, basically, which comes in handy when you're pulling out a bunch of stuff at the same time, right? So now, do we want to do this here? That's the question. basically I want to collect all the information I have on a cage in one place, right? That includes the elements in the SVG, that includes the various properties, etc. And I'll have to decide where I'm going, which is the sort of authoritative source of information, you know, because there are places where information gets modified, right? So for example, in the element, the stroke width might be 8 pixels, but the thickness might be something different because it might use a different unit. It might be a relative unit, right? So there can be a lot of conflicts, etc. Ah, and the spammers have arrived. So then, okay, maybe that's all I have to do. We'll see. All right. So let me just refresh. I mean, obviously we have a whole bunch of cages here. Let me just silence this for a sec so I can do this in peace. Right, so this is the cage data that comes from the fpuzzles export. And then we have cage 2, which is the original input data. So for example, right, this doesn't include the information of how the cage came about, right? And this information gets converted to the other type, right? And I have to decide, do I want to reconvert it here? Do I want to use the existing conversion code? Or do I want to duplicate the code, build a better version basically over time, and then come back to here later to backport it into the back into the main playing tool? And what I'm talking about is there's a lot of code here which converts, like, there's a lot of it. All the feature detection stuff that's happening here. Actually, let me see if I can get, yeah, here we go. So in a way, it kind of hurts actually that after all that feature detection work I'm doing, I'm not actually using it here. Let's just have a look on, because maybe all we really want to do is, is to add some information to the converted data so we don't lose data, right? So we don't strip data out that we're not using just because we're not using it. So current puzzle, that is the converted data, and puzzle is the input data, right? So if we look at puzzle, this is basically what comes in after we've decoded the fpuzzles data. So in this case, for example, you know, this is our cages. And this is what comes from the importer. It's actually not the fpuzzles raw data, right? Then this is it again, yeah. And this is the internal puzzle representation. Now here, no, it isn't. Here we go, current puzzle, all right. I think I'm outputting this stuff multiple times in different places with different meanings. So let's just get rid of some of the other ones. Yeah, let's just do this for a sec. Yeah. So after the conversion, the cages will have a type and they will have a calculated position for the cage value, right? It still has the unique thing. What it doesn't have potentially is any custom styling that gets passed through. But I think we should work from this data. Now the problem is here we have also the box styles and the different, you know, lines, rows, and regions because they're all rendered as cages. So for now, maybe we'll filter this by cages that we understand, just for testing, right? That's probably why I went back to this data originally. So let's swap this out for a moment and just take a closer look at each cage. Now these are actual cages to be rendered, so we should no longer have metadata in here. So we don't have to do these weird checks, hopefully. right? And then for now, let's just concentrate on the killer cages. So if cage.style is not equal killer, return. Okay. Then we have our cells, right? And we should be able to parse those out. Just this. And that gets us an actual cell objects, not just coordinate references. Interesting. So then if we work off these, we don't have to do this up here at all. Or at least we don't have to do the cage 2 detection part. So we can do this. And we can do this. And we can do this. And that should give us the path element already. Nope. So I was using cage 2 in here somewhere. All right. Cage style is not defined. Like that. That's for the offset from the outer edges. All right. And this get cage value cell. This does get cage value cell. So this we already have, and we just need to parse it, right? So and I think cage value will appear without the dot where it's being used. Yeah. So we probably want to do that. Yeah, so the array syntax works the same way as the object syntax for destructuring, by the way. So you can do this to pull 3 elements out of an array. And that should get us the position of where the value is. Cage.cage value. So 1, 7, and the value itself. And from that, we should be able to find all this stuff, right? I probably don't do that. And that should get us the text element. And might as well call it val element like we did earlier. We probably don't need to specify here, so we can shorten it just a tiny bit. All right, val undefined. Turn, and then your console, we want to output this RC. All right, let's just do one at a time. That's really all we need to figure out what the problem is. 8, 3, so R would be 8. So these will be 1 based now. So I think we need to subtract 1. No, add 1. No. subject 1. Subtract 1, I believe. So these should be 1 larger than the actual elements, the actual values. Yeah. Okay. So that's our cage. Cells, val element is text, blah, blah, yada, yada. Okay. All right. So I think I'm going to change this to be using the, be based on the internal data. All right. Just update these quickly. Like that. And don't need that. And then we can just do this. Get rid of all that. Nope. Did I not get that right? 3, 5, 1 plus cage value is text element.text content. Ay, ay, ay. These should be the same, no? Yeah, let's do this in the same one. C and the final one. Oh, wait. So false, 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 true, false, false, true, false, 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 true, true, false. This one I'm interested in. Right position, but the labels don't match. Doesn't make any sense. Let's just output these 2 items. And what do we get? Yeah. It gets pretty complicated, especially when you want to rename, like you can rename labels during the destructuring and you can assign defaults, but the way you assign defaults is a bit awkward. Ah, yes. Don't use cage.value here. Use the value we've extracted. Yes, all right. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, that gets us all the value elements. And we should change this as well now. So current puzzle cages, we're finding cage 2. So now we're just gonna pass in cage, no more cage 2. Don't know if we need, yeah, okay. Don't think there's any references to cage anymore. Let me just return this. All right. And All right, I think that gets us everything. So we have an things that there's another representation we kind of need. We need a representation that's easy to work with in terms of user interface, right? So for example, I don't want to have to parse an SVG path, and I can't use the SVG item to detect collisions. So for that, I'd like to have a cell list, but ideally not an, well, I can't, whoops, sorry. Oh, sorry, my sleeves slipped up, my other sleeves. So I have to unsleeve my sleeves. This must look so weird in the video. All right, I have unsleeved my sleeves. So what we want to do is we want to create cages, cage objects here. So let cages equals, I'm just gonna make an array of cages for now. Now we're gonna add to this array of cages, and we're gonna add some things here. And for now, we're gonna just add these things in there and the cage itself. And those should obviously eventually be wrapped in some sort of component. And we could probably do something like props from cage, right? And get cage to offset cells, parse cells. This we probably also want to include here. Right. And then at the end we have these cages. And this, yeah, let's just do this up here. And we don't need this stuff anymore. Now, one thing I don't know how to handle easily is, for example, the style cages get applied in the rendering method, which is somewhat messy because it does a bunch of stuff. So I don't know if I can easily pull this code out in a sensible manner, but maybe I should. Yeah, maybe I should just do it. Just do it! Okay. So we can now loop through the cages. So we can do something like this, .cages.find, where cage.cells.contains cell, let cage equal, right? And let's see if that finds us a cage. Maybe occasionally. Cage. Find cage, cage.cells. So each cage should have an area of cells. Right. Cage.cells, cage.cells. Return. Cage.cells should be an array. It should be present on all of them. And is it? Apparently not. Cage. Cage.cells includes. Alright, I'm an idiot. That is usually the answer. Okay. So if I'm here, undefined. If I'm here, we got a cage. Okay. If cage undefined. So, oh, no, what? What language is this? I don't know. All right. So I'm on this cage. I'm not on this cage. All right. Obviously, if we're modifying a cage, we want to be able to go back and change it back afterwards. So we need a selected cage. If cage equals select, we can do something like yeah. We could just modify the thing, the property of the cage, right? So okay. So the idea is loop over cages, check if selected, then change style. And now we update, so cage.selected equals true, and cage.path element dot set attribute, and we can just do stroke. Yeah, we'll just do these things. You know what I mean? Just do this. We probably want to do some other things. And for now, that's all we're going to do. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And then we'll probably update the... where is it? Cage, killer, offset, border, fill, stroke, stroke, dash, array. And then later on, ideally, we just make a second style for this, apply it, and have like an apply style function, etc., etc. So this probably needs to be something like 2010 for making them really chunky. Maybe not this chunky. Yeah. Something like this. And now for each and we're just gonna, for now, we're just gonna manually reset it. But later on, we're gonna do it through this stuff. 5.3. In fact, this we'll do before we select a new cage. Hey, yeah, the yes. For each if cage not cage.selected return. Boom. Now we'll do it above this escape clause. Now this has the problem that we're probably resetting the cage and then resetting the cage each time. But at least, you know, we have an idea of what this might look like. Okay. And then if I select it, you know, I want to do things with it, yada, yada. Okay, so we definitely want to be able to apply styles, and I probably want to push those styles into the renderer. So let's do something like svg renderer dot styles dot cage borders selection cage. All right, so we'll probably add something like killer selected, etc. So dot styles borders go. So init. Okay. Cage borders editor cage selected. Okay. And we probably Yeah, I mean, this might be a... I was going to say it has a problem with custom styles, but right now, the way I was going to support custom styles is specifically via predefined style sets. Whoops. And I just spilled. So the idea is that I don't say, oh, which color is the border? No, but I'm creating a new kind of cage, like a decorated killer cage or whatever. And then define that elsewhere in the puzzle. And then I just say, this is not a killer cage, this is a decorated killer cage, that kind of thing. I mean, right now, the type of cage and the style is intrinsically linked, and that's probably not a good thing. Yeah. Don't swirl your drink when it's at the corner of your vision and you can't see it properly. Okay. So I'm going to need a little helper function here, where we're gonna do something like apply cage style. So apply cage style, and it takes a cage and a style. And here we're just gonna do this. And then what do we have? We have editor cage selected. Right. And then here we go, cage borders, style, dot border, that props equals, boom. Let's just output these for a sec here. Boom. Okay. And then for now, we're just gonna iterate over these props. So props dot object keys props, and then we'll just do this kind of thing here. A cage dot path element. Yeah, and later on we might also have text styles for the labels and so on and so forth. So we want to keep this generic. So we've got a key, and then we have props key. Yeah. Okay. And then when we're resetting it, it goes back to cage.style. In this case, killer. Nope. All right. Cage borders killer. Cage.style. Cage props. Cage. Ugh, what did I call it? Date. Date. Cage.data.style. Whoop. Okay. That's not good. What does that do? RGB 5-air-corner fill none. That should be fine. Whoop. That is strange. Why would it jump up there? Just from the styles here. Okay, first of all, we're gonna move this above. Second of all, we're gonna do this. If, oh wait. Ah. No, we're gonna do this. If cage If cage is true. I mean, you obviously want to have like a last select type thing. So you can skip all this. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna do it the other way around. We're not gonna mark the cages themselves. We're gonna say if cage is equals to this dot selected cage return, then nothing changes. Otherwise, if this dot selected cage, then we only need to apply this style to the selected cage. This dot selected cage, dot selected cage. If this dot selected cage do this, then this dot selected cage equals cage, cage. And now this, and then we'll do the same thing again, but this time with it. So if it's undefined at this point, that will also work correctly. And that way we should always deselect the cage, only one cage, and we don't have to loop through all the cages and do all that extra stuff. Especially on something like mouse move. Now that I don't understand. It doesn't make sense that changing the style of the cage actually does anything to the cage, right? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. We're changing stroke width. One sec. Stroke width. Shape rendering. Yeah. One sec. What are we actually changing here? RGB, it's all 0, fill none, stroke width 1.5, stroke dash area 5.3, stroke dash corner 4, non-scaling stroke, dash area, dash corner, stroke width, fill none. Wait, what? Where does the D come from? Frick. That doesn't make any sense. That does make not any sense at all. Not make any sense. All right, edit cage selected somewhere gets overloaded with some extra rubbish. Where does that happen? I know weird stuff can happen with object assign, but this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. It should not happen like that. All right, let's not do this stuff here for a sec. And let's just look at these here. Is the audio good, by the way? Can you hear music and all that stuff? So, killer. I thought I saw a D there for a second. Oh, shoot. I bet that's happening here somewhere. But where? Alright, let's see where this happens. Is this there from the start when we're initializing? Because if it is, then this is a bug higher up. Well, it doesn't exist yet here. And it does exist there. And does it exist here? Yes. What the hell? Okay, so I'm guessing up here. That's not the case just yet. No, here it's already. I think it's happening while the puzzle is loading. So it probably... Handle puzzle loaded. So probably at this point, it's already there. Handle puzzle loaded. Frickety frick. So there's an object assigned somewhere in the renderer. So let's find the first one that has a D in it. So the box ones don't do it, but this one does. Let's see where that came from. So obviously from load puzzle, no surprise there. 1686. Style, cage options. Cage.style. So the first one that has the D in it, the one before it doesn't have the D in it. Okay. What about this one? This one has it. So it happens between here and here. Cage value style, cage border, cage options. Frick. Ah, because the first killer cage got rendered in the first time around the loop. Okay. So, here we should have one of these without, and then one of them with. Loop in. Loop out. And then render cage has it, okay. So loop in here has it, but loop out didn't have it before. So it definitely got set inside render cage. All right, so render cage in here screws up this up somewhere. So let's just do the same thing here. 3, so it's probably between 1 and 2. Under cage. Between 1 and 2. Alright. Good one. We'll find it, we'll find it. 22. Wait, what the frick? Ugh, it's right here. Wow. Alright, that was a silly mistake. Oh my god. Why is the latency so high when I'm typing? Holy crap. Like pressing tab twice, it takes a little breather in between the first tab and the second tab. 6 and 5. Six, 5. In, out, blank line. Okay. For that. And now we can get back to this actually. I'll have to freaking print this out everywhere. Alright, and now it's not going crazy anymore. Alright, and the selected cage border is a bit chunky. So we do this. Probably can do this, I don't know, 16:8. Something like that. And maybe while we're at it, I don't think I have styles in the same way for other elements like the text elements and such. Cage borders. Ah, we do. But we don't have alternatives for it here. Yeah, I have to be a bit careful there, because those were potentially never really used, so I can't just use them now and hope for the best. Might have to kind of dig in a little bit more discreetly. All right, but we've got what we wanted. We wanted the hover thing, right? So now one thing I'd like to accomplish is, okay, so first of all, I have to put in the key handlers again so I can disrupt that stuff. Is this... Wait, key handlers. Is this going to be an array? Yeah. I can't really put that on the prototype, can I? Can I? Let's find out. What? Actually, I'm a bit confused about how that works. Assigning values like non-functions to prototypes. So if I'm here, right, I press Control. So that doesn't work. 697. Oh, maybe it does work. Ah, yeah. Alright, so if I press Control. Okay. So we go back to handle cage, so don't need this anymore now. And we have handle input down. So that should fit. Oh, we don't want to output this stuff anymore. Don't need that either. So that's our hover effect. We actually want a selection effect as well. Good point. I'm just thinking how to distinguish the two. I think we need another style here. And let's pull these out here. For a sec, here we go. Actually, I'm gonna rename this editor page borders. And then here we're going to do editor page selected, editor cage hover. And the hover will be lighter, I guess. A little bit transparent. And wider. Let's try that. And now selection. This is basically not selection, this is hover. Do we want to separate hover and selection here? I guess we could. So we could do a hover cage. Just rename it all. Hover cage. Because we don't actually care about selection here. Cage. Hover. Unspecified identifier. 6836. 6, 8, 3. Ugh, don't like it. Yeah, the offset doesn't matter because it doesn't modify the offset. Here we go. Yeah. Let's not make it super chunky. All right, and for now we'll just do this, and then we'll do on down. We'll just see if we have a hover cage. And then we need to do a bit of shenanigans with the selection style. Boom. All right, so this dot selected cage equals this dot hover cage. And then if this dot selected cage selected, so hover, click, apply cage style not defined, yada 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 yada. Let's get all that stuff in one place. All right, and now we obviously need to handle selected cages separately. If this hover cage if this hover cage if we probably don't want to hover cage the current cage, right? If cage equals this dot selected cage, return this dot hover cage equals false, right? So we can hover, we can select this one. When we leave it, it unhovers it. And this dot hover cage equals. We want to unhover the hover cage. Yeah. And we're on 681. This dot selection. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Click. Alright, click. So then similar to this, if this dot selected cage selected cage data style, boom. All right, and I think we'll make this the default behavior. So if style is undefined, style equals cage dot data dot style. Now we don't have to define this one, we're just unstyling the cage like that. Select this one, select that one, select that one. And I can even click it to unselect it. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. All right. Don't need that anymore. Now we want to get rid of the selection style. We did that, I think, on handle tool enter. So init. But we also want to prevent selection. Wait, we did that via the event handlers. So input down, if that returns false, so the handlers are getting forwarded by... Where? Wait. Handle tool enter. So this code we don't use. Open handle puzzle loaded. Init. Oh, wait. Here we go. So we probably want to do something like let cancel or let res equals undefined. No, res equals false. Res equals res or turn res. And then handle input down return true. We want to cancel out of that operation. So now no more selection while we're in this mode. All right, no more cell selection. Now in this case, we need to figure out handle input down selected cage. So we want to get the current cell. We want to do all these things here. So we've organized our selection there. And now we want to know if this cell is in the cage. Ah, here we go. Boom. And we do that before the selection changes. Because if I'm selected here and then I click here, that deselects. All right. So before we do any of this stuff, we want to do this. So if cage is not equal to this, if cage and cage is not equals to, control home goes to the top. All right, I don't like that. Don't do that. If cage and selected cage and this cage is not equal to the selected cage, log cage dot to RC, and we want to output these two, right? So I select a cage, I click a cell, and it doesn't work. All right. We click, this cage is undefined selected cage. Oh, click here. Now if I click here, wait. Yeah, okay. Right. We want cage to be undefined. That would prevent cages from overlapping, which is fine for now. If cage equals undefined, and this is not equal to undefined. Oops. So we don't actually want cage, we want cell. And cage doesn't have a 2RC. I don't know where I got that from. So click and click. Boom. Cell R5C8. All right. Now the question is, how do we update the cage? I think we need to erase it and re-render it. And the question is, do I re-render the whole puzzle to go through the full pipeline? Or do I try pulling out individual cage rendering? Which I'm not entirely certain I have a full grasp on where exactly it happens. I think it happens in puzzle.loadBoard loading here, but it could also be happening in the import function. So, and we don't necessarily want to re-render the whole cage either. We might want to just update the cage, right? Especially if we're only changing the cells. Which could modify where the value goes, right? All right, let's see. I mean, I think this part we can do. So we can do, let's just do this quickly, just to test it. Set attribute D, and we want to set it to edge. Oh, we need to calculate the edge points. So, styles, cage borders, cage. Slow down. Let's make a helper function, right? Const add cell to cage cell. And let's do it in here. It'll be less crowded, if you know what I mean. Like that. Oop. So, cage.data.style. Let cells equals Cage.data.cells. Wait, cells here are... Where do they come from? Let's try this. See what happens. I'm trying to remember which format they were in at this point. Get path data equals this. All right. So, click the cage, click a cell. Obviously, this doesn't work. And SVG renderer comes from amp. All right. So, I'm guessing that would be the new... we want cells. I want to see what's in the cells here. So these would be cell objects. And cell, is that a cell object or a cell reference? Cell, okay. So I should be able to just add that in there and do this. Maybe. What if we do this? Cage.getAttribute. And then we can compare the two. Get attribute cage.pathLM.getAttribute. Okay, it adds 1, 2, 3, 4 new stops. That looks promising. Let's find out if that's correct. So, select. Boom! Alright. Okay, it just adds it temporarily. Alright. So, cage.cells.push cell. No, we'll go cage.cells, right? So, boom. But it deselects the cage. Alright, well, we can probably sort that out. If we're doing this, at this point, we just don't want to do any of the other stuff. Else, we still want to return true at the end, but we don't need to change any of these things. So, boom, boop, boop. Ah, I see. Okay. Interesting. If... Ah, okay. If selected cage is undefined. So cage is... Okay. So if cage is undefined, we're clicking outside of any cage. Then we just want to add the cell. And now we want to remove a cell. Now the adding and the removing is actually trivial because it happens through here. So we want to actually not do that. We want to update cage path. That's really all we need to do. So we're doing this and update cage path. We don't pass in the cell at all. And else, it means we've clicked onto the same cage and we want to remove the cell. So cells.splice cage.cells.index of cell 1. Cage. Does that work? Ah, freaking flies. Come on, get out of my face. Cage.cells. If so, oh, yeah. It's undefined, obviously. Okay. Ah! What do you think? Now, right now, it only works on clicking. Oh, why can't I... Why can I not select another cage? Row or cells, it is undefined. Alright, there's a fruit fly in front of my face, and it's incredibly irritating. Okay, so... this won't do the trick. If selected cage is not equals undefined, and cage is not equal this dot selected cage. No. If cage is undefined, then we want to add a cell. Right. If cage is equal to selected cage, then we want to remove a cell. Else, we want to continue with selection handling. And there's a more elegant way of expressing that. But right now, I just want to get working. I'm getting hungry again. Didn't I just have lunch? Alright, so I can change selection, I can increase the cage, I can remove, but I can change. And I can do that. I think that's pretty good. So right now, this will not handle overlapping cages, stuff like that. But that's fine. I can deal with that when it becomes an issue. I don't think it's very well supported in puzzle setting in general. Can it destructure property row and cell as it is undefined? So it's allowed to enter 618. 618 edge points. Update cage path. Update cage path. Cage.cells. Let's see how that could happen, because there's a cage and it's just asking it to redraw it, basically. Oh, because it's undefined. If cage equals undefined, if cell undefined. There we go. Maybe just deselect. Oh. Reading push. Cannot read property of undefined. Reading push. This dot selected cage dot cells. How can we have a cage and no cells? Huh. I mean, we can't click on the cage to deselect it right now. But that's okay. I think this is actually quite competent for editing a cage. I'm not upset by this. This could work. I also wanted to highlight the value, maybe. So right now, we can't edit the value in here, but I think that's fine. It would be nice if I just get a text cursor when I hover it and click on it and edit it in place. But I think it's fine to push value editing to the side here. Actually, I think fpuzzles handles that better. Or at least it handles it at all. I don't know where fpuzzle is. If I have a copy of fpuzzle sitting somewhere. Probably not. Alright, let's get rid of some of the spam. And this. Alright. What we don't have right now is our UI for listing the cages. And that used to be done in... So we had the update UI and all that stuff. So we need to decide, okay, what's our rendering pipeline for that, for UI? So cage editor, load puzzle handle, input down, handle, input move. Cage editor, puzzle editor. So init, create element. So this morning we looked at all this stuff. And obviously we don't actually have any call to render any particular thing, any particular editor. In fact, initializing the tool or handle tool enter and all that stuff is not actually being handled at all right now. So then we had selection change. Handle section change, sorry, handle check change section. And then this updated the current section and then called section.render and section update UI. So we're not actually calling create element on the editor right now. Handle tool enter, create element. Current puzzle. Oh, I don't like that this... Oh, now I'm realizing I've called it the same as the function that actually creates the element. Yeah, I'm gonna change it to attach element. And detach. All right. Um, 682. Let's get rid of that as well. Okay, I think we can finally start reducing some of this spam over here as well. There's another one, 643. All right. And now we want to attach the editor element as well, not just the editor itself. All right, so oh, there's another one. Editors push, handle puzzle loaded. Handle puzzle loaded, resolve puzzle loaded. And then somewhere here, handle. Oh yes, handle tool enter. And then we'll do this.editors 0.attach element. Except we want to attach those when they get created. So we don't want to do this here. Or do we? The way I initially implemented it is that they were all, the UI was all present. And it might be helpful to have it present and then just hidden. The total is currently automatically positioned. I'm just not updating it at the moment. Good point. Let me just add that in quickly. The thing is, the code that does that is actually run through during the setup of the puzzle. So I'm kind of duplicating a lot of code at the moment because there's no pipeline to inject that stuff, right? But it's also a kind of an opportunity to review that pipeline, right? So we are looking at application, puzzle, and we're looking at convert puzzle. And here somewhere, cage value is created, right? The thing is, I don't want to edit script.js too much right now, because then I get merge conflicts and stuff. So once the edit tool is fairly far along, then I can start moving things and refactoring things in script.js. I'd rather not do it now. But we'll definitely need a reference to this thing, right? So this whole thing that converts the cage. Well, not all of it, because we're not re-handling all the styling and stuff. At least not yet. So, const calculate cage value. Right. If cage value is undefined, sort top left RC pop out cage value. If is not number some part int. Yeah, this I don't want to update just yet. All right. My God, this fly! I can barely I see it in my peripheral vision, but when I look, I don't see it. Stupid motion sensitivity. Calculate. Yeah, it's a bit of a big word here. If we do this, God damn it. The thing is, here we're not actually updating cells yet. We already have multiple representations there. All right, I gotta get this fly. It's driving me crazy. It's so tiny. It's like a little pixel flying around. So let's first look at this. When I'm editing the cage, right, we have the cells that are here and the cells that are here, and those cells get set up. All right, I got it. Finally. I have to figure out where they're coming from. They're in one of the houseplants somewhere. Anyway, spend more time talking about the flies in my room. Terrible. Where am I converting the cage cells to their string representation? Because it doesn't look like it's happening here. Cages push, out cage, out cage. Ah, here we go. So cage.data.cells, cage.cells, and this. So that should be the new cage string. Object is not iterable. Cage.cells.map. We're back to the third representation, aren't we? I think that should be the same. Find out. Yeah. So I'll assign this. And now this should be able to run on cage.data. Now value obviously hasn't changed at this point. Yeah. Cage.data, cells, yada yada yada. Sort. Is that... it's the other representation again, isn't it? My gosh, so many different representations. So that operates on the original value, on the parsed values, which I don't have access to at this point anymore. I mean, I can convert them yet again. All right, well, let's make this work on our cages here. So we can do cage.cells.sort, no, .map, we'll just do a row call, and that gets converted to a row call array, and that we can sort, and then we can pop an element off the top, and that doesn't work either. In fact, yeah, we've already parsed this stuff here. We just need to place it in a new place. So I'm barking up the wrong tree completely. So, need to establish, we have data, we have cage value, right? I'll deal with cages that don't have a value later. Then we'll do this. That should get us the label cell 36. Okay. Then we should have cage.text. Okay. And now we just need to know how we're converting the actual position, the cell position to the value, the position for the value object, right? So it's basically this code. And in fact, we can now create new label, blah, 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 new cage value. Yeah, I'm forgetting where I'm at and what I'm supposed to be doing in this function. So, equals this one. We want to parse it, extract the value, and then we're going to stuff it right back in after. Where is it? So, cage value. So this gives us a new label cell, and then after that, we'll get a new cage value that looks like this. And that should be val. And I think that's right. But if I put this, now this should be R3 C7. All right. Okay. Whoop. Unexpected brace. Where? This one? That's that one. All right. So we're getting a new cage value back. So cage.data data.cage value equals boom. Or let's say let new cage value equals this. If cage value is different from this one, then we want to update it. All right. Now we need to parse it once again. Like this. Nope. All right. And that gets us 587, 687. All right. And now we want to update whatever we had there. Cage value RC. So the center, the new center is this. Let center equals R blah yada yada 0. Blah blah blah. I think. I think that's all still good. Okay. And then once we have a new center, that goes to render text. And render text does what with center? Does all this. And these aren't even exposed. Hate this. I hate this. Well. Well, I'm definitely need to reorganize all this code so this stuff is all externalized. So you can do this from the outside. It's annoying because the code already exists and it already does it all. It's just not accessible right now. All right, so if I do let x equals this, and that's the end of the second round on the music mix, and I think I'm gonna wind it up soon because I'm getting tired. My brain isn't working properly, and that's not the best way to work. And I got an early start to 2 streams today, and there's maybe some off-screen stuff I would like to do. Where does the width and the height come from? Width and height and height. I think width and height, they don't have defaults. Should have defaults. What is it? Number undefined. God damn it. I'm not passing width and height in at all. Width and height. Width and height. These should all be NANs, right? Please be NANs. No, 0.2. Where'd they come from? Whoop, nope. They are not defaulted here. They're not getting defaulted here. Or maybe they are. Yes, they are. So we want to grab that out of here. All right. Height, and then finally, XY. Oops. And I press this and this. We get these. All right, we're almost there. So cage dot val elem set attribute x, and y. And that should update the cage. My gosh, that's a lot of code. Or not. Set attribute. I used to have viewers that helped me spot these kind of mistakes. What happened? All right, here we go. Is that what you wanted, Mark? Look what you've made me do. All right, the 6 moves around. I don't know if you guys can see it properly, but there's a little 6 up there. And if I change the cage, the 6 goes where it's supposed to be. All right. Mostly I don't see this as the final code. Mostly I see this as letting me know where I have to refactor the current render to make all this stuff easier. Because I mean, it's ridiculous. A page of code here just to update a cage. And it only it doesn't even update the styles yet. Ship it. Yeah, it's done. We're done. I mean, you're joking. Oh, no, there's another element. There's the background square for the text. Look, there it is. But while you're kidding, I actually considered, because I want to create what I call a link builder, where basically people can edit stuff that isn't in the puzzle, you know, such as adding a solution after the fact, changing the title, changing the description, that kind of thing. Pressing a button, like just a management interface where they can do various things, you know, creating a tiny URL, stuff like that. And I could bring these kind of tools into that one by one, right? Like, oh, you can edit cages now. Oh, you can update lines. You know, you can micromanage the positions of your arrows. You know, but you can't do all the other stuff. You can't place crop keys yet, or something like that. You know. And then I could target specifically those things that, let's say, FPuzzles doesn't allow you to do. You know, like placing arrows and lines at arbitrary locations. Let's have a quick look at that. It's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt because I know it's a separate element, and once again I'm going to have to try to guess which one it is. So this is going to be living in the same place, isn't it? So technically it should be the rect above the text. The question is that guaranteed? And if not, can I just look at the positions to find it? Like the center attribute would be the same, for example. X and Y, are they the same? They're not the same. They're slightly different. Why are they slightly different? God damn it. I think the text has a small offset. Or is that one that I've moved around? Let's look at one that I haven't moved around yet. All right, let's just refresh this. So if I compare this one to this one, the X and Y positions do not match up, right? $14.19. Oh wait, that's width. Y is 130. Here it's 138. Y is 285. Ah. Alright, well, we have our code that generates all those elements for us. So I guess that code is just going to get a little bit more complicated. And I need to come up with a new name. I have cage data, cage, I don't know, cage component, cage element. I need more words. Yeah, that's basically what I have in mind, right? So I can start with something that's immediately useful and then slowly work my way up to a fully featured editor. Because if you claim to be fully featured and then you just don't do a thing, then everybody's going to say, oh, please can you do the thing? And there's 26 different million things that people might want to do. So we have get cage val bg, get cage rect lm. Oh, bg. I think we're gonna put this first because val is optional. Get val. Oh, I think I'll want to get these out of here as well. There are some items that I might have to add to these now. That's probably not going to work right now. Yeah, SVG render not defined. Nope. All right. And then here we're going to move this up. Clone that one, page val bg lm. All right, dog's on the way home. The final steps. So we want to align them in a similar way as what we're doing with these guys here. This is gonna be super spammy. I hope it's not gonna something terrible. Ugh. 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 That was horrific. All right. Interesting how some of them are rendered as HTML. Wow, something that's weird. Timing. I think here the DOM wasn't ready yet, and here they were added to the DOM or something. All right. So I basically want to do something similar to this. But if I assume this thing already exists, then I might be able to use the center property. The problem is that's not a real property. That's like me not being clean about what I'm pushing into the thing. Because basically when I'm assigning properties, sometimes I'm just wholesale assigning a whole bunch. And I end up with things like center being assigned a string of an array. Where is it here? Center. It has this string here. Now that matches to this one, right? Ideally, this would have a reference to this one. But we don't live in an ideal world. First of all, so I don't step into something terrible, I'm gonna make this work only for it's gonna do a couple of things. I don't think the index here is used. Yeah, rid of that. H. So we're gonna filter all the killer ones out. Like that. Then we know all of them work here. Except now we can do slice and just get like 2 or 3. Yeah. And now we can also look at these more clearly. I can probably figure out exactly how they differ. The question is, do I really want to do that? So this renders the bounding box X. So it uses the bounding box of the text element. And I don't know how reliable those are. I do not know if those bounding boxes are reliable. Cage value. Get cage val bg element. Cage val bg element. Cage. Alright, I'm gonna do something really naughty. So val element get bounding box. Just gonna see how quickly I can get the accurate, exact information that I need, and if it makes sense to carry that all through. So we have an XY here. And now if we compare this, if we compare this to what's in here, that's why you have those weird unrounded values as well. So one of these should be basically identical, right? That pos equals yada yada yada. And then we can do pos.x minus pos.y minus, and then one of these should be very close to 0 basically. I mean, what if we do this? We're just gonna add these two together. Find. And we just say, ooh, whatever, smaller than 0.01, something like that. And then we're just gonna do plus here, and this whole thing there. Great. Should not compare floating point numbers for equality. Yeah. That's why I'm doing all this horrible stuff here. I mean, ideally, I just calculate the distance and make sure it's less than tiny value, right? But this is good enough. Good enough. I mean, there's other attributes I can compare. For example, it gets a specific width and height here. All right, so let bglm equals da. I can just return this here. Yep. like that. Like that. Now this we don't want to recalculate, so all of this gets wrapped into a single thing that does the whole thing. And now something doesn't work anymore. First of all, I've changed something here. This one. Second of all, now something doesn't work at all. Oh, because I'm not doing all the cages anymore. That's why. All right. So now when I do this, this moves, but the big background element doesn't move. But in theory, we now have a background element at least. So we can do cage dot, I don't even know, what did I call it? Val_bg? Val_bg element. Yeah. My naming skills are pretty horrific. And now we basically have to go through the same shebang to calculate the new position for it as well, which is these guys here. So we have a new bounding box, we have a new position, and then we probably can just do this as well. So x plus y. So now let's make this bigger so we can see. So if I select this one, go up here. Nope, doesn't work. Don't get attribute. Ugh. Programming against time. I'd like to be off the computer when the dog comes home, but I don't think I manage. Get attribute. How many times have I misspelled that now? 368194. So if I set it xy val_bg element cage val_bg element. So now, it is okay. It's working. So if I get rid of this one and move this one up, and select a different one, you can see the little transparent rectangle there. All right, that's it. It needs a lot of cleaning up, but it tells me where kind of the pain points are. But at least now I can convert the puzzle position to the element to find the element, and I can update the element and then turn it back into puzzle position, all that sort of thing. Math.apps. Yeah, no, because if they're anything other than the same values, then I don't actually care which way around they go. No. Let me make better words, right? If these are anything but almost exactly the same values, then I don't care how big or if the value is positive or negative. The value needs to be 0, right? So for example, if the distance is negative or positive, I don't care, as long as, because I want the distance to be 0, right? Ah, I see what you're saying. Now you're right. You're right, of course, because then I'd have to check if it's larger than negative 0.00. Okay, you are absolutely right, and I should have known from the start. Hey guys, I'm just telling the people goodbye, Toby, and I'll be right with you. Really not very long today. All right, guys, I gotta get going. Thanks, Mark. That was absolutely right. And now we can modify cages. Woohoo! Oh, no, I broke it. I broke it. I thought I had it working. Nope. There's definitely a background here. Is there another one? It's almost like there's more than one. One sec. Let's refresh this and do it on the last one. Do this one, get rid of that one. Bring the 8 up here. It's not there. What about this one? It's not there. What about this? Oh. Is it the double-digit ones? Yeah, it's the double-digit ones. So there's a problem. With the double-digit ones, some of these numbers don't add up correctly. I'm not taking everything into consideration and my math fails, but it shouldn't actually be very hard to fix that. Distance calc is wrong for multi-digit numbers. In theory, I should just be able to look for the closest one. I don't actually have to, I can just sort them by distance basically, and then return the closest one, because I know every value has one of these. Anyway, not a big deal. We'll fix that tomorrow. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for hanging out. Usual stuff. If you subscribe on YouTube, that would really help me. youtube.svencodes.com. Check out the Patreon if you want. If I reach 20, I will set up the second tier for setters, which with access to my own TinyPuzz link shortening service, which isn't running right now. I still have to set that up. And then I'll set up the next goal, which probably will be for YouTubers at like 50 supporters or something like that. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. That's it. Take care.